So we left off in last year. We're first going to do a little bit of Dalet Amud Aleph and then do a Chazara for the Daf Hashavua test, the Bechina, on Daf Gimel. So we ended off Gimel Amud Beis. I think the end of the Gemara, it could be I didn't explain something perfectly. The last halacha that Rabbi Shua ben Levi says is that a krach that was charav and then at the end was rebuilt, it was yashav, it's considered a krach. So the Gemara first thought it meant that the walls fell down and then you put it back up. And that the Gemara said it can't be, because even if you don't put the walls back up, it's still considered a walled city. On that the Gemara answers, rather it means that it had asar batlanim and then it lost asar batlanim and then it got it back. So I just want to say, according to the way we learned the Gemara, once we're speaking about asar batlanim, we're not speaking about a walled city. Because according to Tosfos, some Rishonim learn differently, but we were learning like Tosfos that asar batlanim only affect a non-walled city, an open city. So even though the Gemara in the Havamina thought it was talking about the walls fell down and it was speaking about a walled city, once it says that it's speaking about a asar batlanim, you go back to the previous year and you'll see how we spoke it out, then we're speaking about, according to Tosfos, not a walled city. You understand that? Chabet? Okay, fine. Says the Gemara further, and then we'll try to have in time for a Chazara. The last two words on Gimel Amud Beis, and then Dalet Amud Aleph. V'amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Lud, V'ono, V'geach HaRashim. 3 cities in the cities of Binyamin, Mukaf Eschoma, Miyamos ben Shua ben Nun. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Rashi explains that he had a Gamra lo Yeshua ben Levi Mirabbe. He had a tradition from his Rabbeim that Lud, V'ono, V'geach HaRashim, those 3 cities were, we didn't know, but he knew that they were Mukavas Chom and Miyos B'Shua ben Nun. And Rashi explains that what was different about those cities that he had to tell us. And Rashi explains because those cities specifically, the walls looked like they were newish. And since the walls looked like they were newish, so therefore we thought that they weren't built from the times of Yeshua ben Nun, because they were newer than other walled cities. So therefore he had to explain they were built from the times of Yeshua ben Nun. Okay. Ask the Gemara, V'ani Yeshua banini. Are you telling me they were built in the times of Yeshua? El Pal banini. They were built by El Pal, who lived later, past Yeshua ben Nun. How do I know? Because it says, Ubnei El Pal, the children of El Pal was Aver, Umisham, Vashemed. I think it's a mistake. It should say Vashemed. Who bana, and he built, El Pal built, as Ono Ves Lud Ubenosa. He built Ono Lud and its villages. So the Gemara is not asking, the Gemara mentioned 3 cities on the top line. Lud, Ono, and Geach HaRashim. The Gemara is just asking on the first 2. That you see that it was El Pal that built Lud, Vayiven, he built as Ono Ves Lud, the first 2. Ubanosa, because the Pasuk says he built it. And if the Pasuk says he built it, then he must have what? Built it. Right? On that, the Gemara says, wait a second. You're telling me because it says he built it, that it means literally he built it and not that he resurrected it or he fixed it. You think it means he built it, that he really built it? Well, Tamech, according to you, I could ask you a question that I'm going to show you psukim and ideas that show that even after El Pal, Asa built those cities. Well, Tamech, if you're talking about the lashon of the pasuk, because it says that he built it, well, Tamech Asa beninu. The Bach sticks in. Well, Tamech Ha Asa benini. But Asa was on that built it. Why? There's a little bit of a delicate Gemara. So stick with me. I'm going to be speaking out some Mefarshim to explain the Gemara. It's a little bit rough, but I'll try to make it smooth. It goes like this. Asa benini, Asa built it, Tichsiv, because it says in the Pasuk, Vayiven, it's a question, Rashi brings down a Pasuk. The Gemara brings down a Pasuk in parentheses. Rashi brings down a different Pasuk and says that Pasuk's not right. The Gilyon brings down Vayiven Are Mitsuras Yehuda. That I don't have the pasuk in front of me, but he built Are Mitsudas Yehuda that he built fortified cities in Yehuda. Asa was the king of Yehuda. Yehuda was in charge of which 2 Shvatim? Yehuda and Binyamin. So therefore, it says here Vayiven Are Mitsura Yehuda, that he built the Are Mitsura Yehuda. So therefore, since he was the king of Yehuda and he was in charge of Binyamin, and in fact Rashi sticks in that we find psukim that say straight out in Divrei Hayamim that says about Asa, the end of Rashi, Veichazik Asa says, Vayivam Bahem es Geva ves mitzvah vehinari binyamin. So we see straight out he built cities in Yehuda, and we know he also did what? We see that he built cities in Yehuda, I'm sorry. And we know in Divrei Yamim that he also built cities in Binyamin. And the Mefarshim speak out one other point. And we see that these three cities were what? Or these two cities, the three cities, looked very new. That's a big key. So if we find that Asa built cities in Binyamin, and these were the newest looking cities, even though it doesn't say that he built these cities, but we could deduce it. We could figure it out. If we see he built up cities in Binyamin, like Rashi says, he built Geva ves Mitzvah. And these cities look newer than those cities, and he built cities in Yehuda, and he was in charge of Binyamin. All these points together point to the fact that Asa also built what? Ono v'gei Lud and v'ono v'gei Acharashim. So even though it's not straight out in the Psukim, you could ask that. So says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Lazar says no. So therefore when it says must be, says the Gemara, that when it says that Alpal built it and Asa built it, it doesn't mean that he what? That he built it. Amar Rabbi Lazar, Hani Mukavas Chomim Yosef Yeshua Menud. Really, these were what? Walled cities from the times of Yeshua Menud. Havu, they were. Yosef Yeshua Menud. Havu. Charuv, they got destroyed. Bimei Pilegesh Begiva. During the times, there was a famous story of Pilegesh Begiva, where a terrible story happened in Binyamin, whatever that story is, not the time for now, but it caused like a sort of like a civil war in Klal Yisrael, where Klal Yisrael killed out a lot of Binyamin, most of Binyamin, and destroyed their cities. So therefore, Charabi may Pilegesh Begiva. In those times, it was destroyed. Va'asa El Pal Banini, and El Pal came and he rebuilt it. Hadar Inpol, then they fell down again. Asa Shipatzinu. And Asa came, Shipatzinu means he fixed the cracks, but Sammy Kleiman mentioned that it has to be that he built it also, because first of all, the pasuk says Hadar Inpol, it fell down. So what Shipatzinu, he fixed the cracks, it was new, and the walls were new. So clearly he says a good point. So he was saying that it has to be that, I don't know what Shipatzinu, that Rashi says it just means he fixed the cracks, but obviously there was some sort of rebuilding as well. Says the Gemara, Dekanami. I could also deduce this, because it says in the pasuk, Vayomer Yehuda, and he said to Yehuda, Nibnes Aram Asa said to Yehuda, let's build these cities. Now, if there's a flat land without any cities there, do you say let's build these cities? Sir, there's no cities. So therefore, when he said Vayomer Yehuda Nibnes Aram Oela, Michlal, we could infer from this the Arum Havu Meikar, that there were cities from before. So Shema Mina, so we see from here that what? That really he was just rebuilding what was already done. Okay, let's do a little bit more, and then we'll do the Chazara. V'amar Rabbi Yeshua Melevi, Nashim Chayavos b'Mikra Megilla, Nashim are Chayiv in Mikra Megilla, Shafein Oyibos Hanes. Really, Nashim should not be Chayiv, because just like they're not Chayiv in Mitzvah Asay Shazman Grama, in time-bound mitzvos Asay, so too we're going to learn in Psachim. Later on in the year, on the Kuf Ches on Beis, Tos is going to speak out there on Amid Beis that so too Darabanans were set up like that Nashim are not Chayiv. But Amar Rabbi Yeshua and Levi, so why are they Chayiv? Because Shafein Hoyibos Hanes. So Rashi explains, and Tos learns the same way. Tos brings down the Rashbam that learns differently, but he learns like Rashi. What does it mean they were part of the Nes? That Haman wanted to kill Ashmid al-Arog, even the Nashim. So therefore, they were part of the Nes. So therefore, they also are Chayiv and Mikra Megillah. V'am Rabbi Yeshua Levi, Purim Shechalios b'Shabbos. Even though usually on a regular Yontif we speak about the halachas 30 days before, and on Yontif, on Purim we don't do it. We don't do it on Purim itself because we usually have the Megillah. But Purim Shechalios b'Shabbos, when we read the Megillah earlier in the week, so Shol and V'darshim and Yom Shol Yom. So we speak about the Megillah even on Shabbos to be mefarz in the Nes, to speak about the Nes, that it should be out there, that people should be speaking about the Nes on the actual day of Purim, which is Shabbos. So on that, ask the Gemara, wait a second. My Yash Purim, why do you have to tell me that you do that on Purim, when Purim falls out on Shabbos? Of course I know that, because Afilu Yontif Nami. You have to do it even on Yontif. Yontif, even though we do it 30 days before, but on Yontif itself, is there any Persume Nisa on Yontif? No. There's no Persume Nisa. There's regular Yom Tov halachas. This is the Tosa Rush speaks out the way I'm saying the Gemara's kasha. Afilu Yontif Nami. Even on Yontif we do it, and there's no Persume Nisa. There's no Chashivas or Persume Nisa, and we speak about the Yontif. Right? The Tanya Moshe Tikalem Yisrael. Moshe was Misakin. He established Sheyisholim v'Darshim in Yanoshol Yom. And you have to speak about the Yontif on that day. Hilchas Pesach b'Pesach. You speak about Pesach on Pesach. Hilchas Atzeres b'Atzeres. You speak about Shavuos on Shavuos. Hilchas Chag b'Chag. And you speak about Sukkos on Sukkos. So therefore, why do you have to? If you do the Yontif, and Purim has a special need to do it because of Persume Nisa. So of course you what? Are going to do it on Purim. You have the Persume Nisa involved here. Says Gemara, it's Purim Etzrichle. You still have to teach us Purim. Mao to say, I might have thought to say that just like we don't read the Megillah on Purim because we're scared you might go to a Baki, might go to an expert to teach, to find out how to read it. Nigzer Mishum de Rabbah. We should have the same Gzeira of Rabbah. This was Rabbah's Gzeira, that you shouldn't read the Megillah on Shabbos. So I might think that because of that, we should also be careful not to what? Speak about the Megillah. Because we're being careful about not reading the Megillah, let's not speak about the Megillah either. Kamash 1 comes along, Shua ben Levi, and tells us that you could. Okay. As far as the Chazar and Daf Gimel, we only have 5 minutes, but I'm just going to speak out the Shakrat and the Gemara you have to go over. That Daf Hashavua is going to ask you. But just the main Rashis, so just to speak out some of the main Rashis, we started off where the Gemara first says that on the bottom of Beis Amud Beis, it says that the Nevi'im made menatzpach, they made the end letters. Ask the Gemara 2 questions. The Gemara says, it says Elu mitzvos. These are the mitzvos, you can't create new mitzvos. And then the Gemara asks the second question, how could you tell me the Nevi'im did it? The end letters were also in the what? In the luchos. So on that, Rashi asks a question right there on the top of Gimel Amud Aleph, top Rashi. We spoke about it. Why don't we just answer that the Nevi'im, instead of saying they made the end letters, say, because it's a question in Gemara and Shabbos, say they made the middle letters. And if they made the middle letters, that would answer which question? The second question of the Gemara. Because the second question of the Gemara was that it was in the luchos, the end letters, but the middle letters, we don't know that they were in the luchos. So Rashi says, you're right, that does answer the second question, if we would have said that. But since it doesn't answer the what? The first question, therefore we didn't answer that. We answered a different question. For more detail on that, you can watch the share on Gimel Amud Aleph, the first share. Another thing is, then the Gemara answered that what did the Nevi'im really do? They really made a new halacha that it used to be you could have the end letters in the middle and the middle letters at the end, and it was still a kosher Sefer Torah. They made the halacha, we forgot which ones were which. They made the halacha that it has to be in a certain place. Ask the Gemara, same problem. It says, Elu mitzvos, you can't what? Create new things. Right? And then the Gemara answers whatever it answers. But Rashi asks, so isn't that obvious? You already told me the Nevi'im can't create something. And then you answered a second answer, and you had the same question, that the Nevi'im can't create something. And that Rashi answers that Urchi de Sugi de Gemara, it's very normal that we work up, Davar she'eno ad de Tarach Mamid Aburiya. We work our answers, even if it's not perfect, in the second time again, and we work it up to the real answer. Okay. And we spoke of just going down Rashi. So he says, it says we mentioned that Daniel wasn't a Navi and Chag Zechariah Malachi was. Asked Rashi, but he was a Navi. Daniel was. So Rashi says, because he never was a Navi as a shliach to Klal Yisrael. He never gave over a message to Klal Yisrael. So that's why he's called not a Navi. But of course, he was a Navi. Then Rashi says, what's someone's mazel? Someone's mazel is the malach upstairs. Sar shokol adam lamala. Next, it says, what does it mean? Yisrael b'mamadan. What's mamadan of Yisrael? What did Klal Yisrael do with the carbon tamid? So we didn't speak it out straight out, but Rashi explains that we already learned in Tainus that it says by the carbon tamid tishmeru lak rivli b'moado. They have to watch it. Every person has to watch his own what? His own carbon. How does Klal Yisrael watch the carbon tamid if they're not there? So the Nevi'im Rishonim set up 24 mishmaros so that Klal Yisrael could have a cycle of people watching over the carbon tamid. That's what it is. Okay. Another thing that I don't think we mentioned, but Rashi says it. How did we know that the Malach how do we know that the Malach was telling Yoshua that he was upset about the carbon tamid? Where do we know that? He just said, so Rashi says, because the Malach told Yoshua, I'm coming for now, at the Basi, I'm coming for the Torah. So we see that he was also coming for something else. He said, I'm coming for the now. Well, obviously, if that's the only thing he was upset about, he obviously was coming for that. So Rashi says that's how we figured out that he was coming for something else for the carbon tummy. So if they ask you, how did the Gemara know that? That's that Rashi. Okay, next. Another very important Rashi, the bottom Rashi on the Amid. It says, right away, Yoshua accepted it, and he went to learn Torah. So Rashi, yes, it wasn't right away. The Gemara brings down, the pasuk that the Gemara brings down to prove that he accepted right away was before he was in Yericho. Now he was in Ai. So it wasn't right away. So Rashi speaks out. It just means right away the next time it was possible, the next time when they went to Ai, very quickly, another 60 seconds, that it says, you have to know what do we learn out from by Nazir, by the psukim of Nazir, what do we learn out from that it says, it already says you can't be matama to any mace. And then it says you can't be matama to the father, to the mother, to the sister, to the brother. Make sure you know all those, what we learn out of those. Make sure you also know what's the losase. The Gemara says that kavod abrios is docha losase, pushes away a losase. That's the losase of losucha lisalim, that you're not allowed to overlook a lost object. And also asar batlanim, one thing. What are asar batlanim? 10 batlanim that Rashi says that always sit in shul, and he also mentions that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Gemara in Brachas, if he comes to a shul and he doesn't find those asar batlanim, right away he gets upset. Shkayach, guys. Do well on